Hello everybody, my name is Billy Liapis. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to make money wholesaling, what it is, and how it works. All right, let's get into it. For the people who don't know, wholesaling is essentially when you're contacting off-market properties where the homeowners are under some sort of distress or they need help solving a problem. You're basically going to be making offers on these properties. Once you have a seller who accepts your offer and you're under contract, you would then sell that purchase agreement or that purchase contract for the same exact house to an investor who's willing to pay you more money. The way you actually make money from wholesaling is by making that spread in between your purchase price with the seller and the price that you're selling it to the investor for. For example, let's say you bought a house for $100,000. You get it under contract with that seller, then you take it to an investor, they say, hey, I want to flip it. I can buy it for $120,000. You say, okay, no problem. You have them sign the assignment contract. You send everything into title. You're then going to make that $20,000 spread in between. The way you would find these homes to wholesale is fairly simple. There's a few different ways, but you can check for sale by owners on Zillow. That way's free. You can pull lists like absentee owners, which is somebody who owns the home who doesn't live there. High equities list, where you have a decent amount of equity in the home since you've lived there for 7+ years. You can pull those lists on services like PropStream, Batchleads, even ListSource. ListSource is going to be the freeway, obviously not the best data, but it's going to work for you. Then you have PropStream and Batchleads, a little bit of better data, a little bit more money, but definitely worth it. Once you pull those lists, you can skip trace them in order to receive all the phone numbers and mailing addresses, and then you just get to work. You can make those dials. The way I would handle rejection when wholesaling is the same way you should handle rejection when trying anything else that's new, especially in business. So you should be unaffected by any negative results, period. For every 100 leads you speak to, you might get one deal closed. You're looking for the 1% who are in distress, who are looking to sell. The other 99% are going to be no's. So whether they're rude, understanding, you have to look for the yes. Ignore the no's the best way you can. Really, that's the only way you can kind of put it. You have to be very diligent. Just look towards the goal. I wouldn't look too hard at the no's or any of the downfalls. You know, it really just takes one yes to change your life. You can make that $30,000 check on one deal, and you know your concept of money and everything else ahead just changes very quickly. So the wholesaling process could be as quick as 30 days, but typically from the first time that you speak to a seller to them signing is about 90 days. That's the time between you getting your first call for them as a lead, the follow-up call, all the negotiations, getting the contract signed, getting the deal closed, that title, etc. So yeah, we typically like to say from the time that a lead gets in to the time that you close, on average, it's going to be about 90 days. You know, you are going to run into your diamond in the rough, you know, that you'll be able to close first or second phone call, and you know you get that check within 30 days, but it's very rare for the most part. That's why you want to have that 90 to 6 month horizon when you start. You know, you can't just start and then quit after 30 to 60 days and say, hey, I didn't get any results, because it usually doesn't work that way. You have to cultivate those things, you know, just like anything else. The type of people and the situations that make the best candidates for wholesaling can be almost anyone. There's so many homeowners that need help in some way or another. It could be a couple that's ready to retire. They want to move out of state. It could be a family that's behind on their mortgage payments because they just bought a home that's too expensive, you know, and they can't afford the payments. So they're going into foreclosure. Maybe they're in pre-foreclosure already. You know, probate situations where a loved one passes away and somebody else inherits the property and they can't keep it and they want to sell. Maybe they're in a different state. There could be a ton of different scenarios, but one way or another, the stat is pretty high in terms of the people who actually are in distress and need help to sell their home. You know, there's transactions every single day all over the country. There are a few situations that could come up to ruin or end the wholesale deal from a seller that decides they don't want to sell any longer. You know, they could just back out. To buyers that back into the deals even hours before closing. Probably one of the worst feelings that's happened to me. Happening in my second deal, actually. There's almost no solution when it's too late. You know, you kind of just have to cancel the contract, and that's a part of the business. You know, that's another thing. You do have to understand that. You know, just like anything else, there's going to be downfalls. There's going to be, you know, your negatives. There's going to be your setbacks, but there's always a better, you know, comeback ahead of time. Just as long as you keep that focus and you don't quit. You know, you can't fail when you don't quit. So the profits one could make from a wholesale deal can vary drastically. Almost always depends on what percentage of ARV you're locking these deals up at. ARV just stands for after repair value. That's the number that flippers are looking at in terms of what they can flip a deal for. So that's why that number matters a bit. What that means is just how cheap you're getting the homes under contract at in comparison to what they're worth fixed up. It's also going to depend on what buyers you have lined up to buy these deals for you. A traditional buyer, someone who's going to go conventional who wants to live in the home, they're willing to pay a little bit more, you know. A flipper, on the other hand, they want to pay a little bit less because they're going to have to do all the rehab. They're going to have to get all those holding costs. You know, they're going to be taking all that up front. So they want a little bit of a better deal so they can make a little bit more money, you know, up front. The way we usually get these homeowners to agree to let me buy their house is by finding out 4 things. We're going to figure out condition of the property, the price they're looking for, the timeline that they're looking to sell it in, and the reason why they're selling. Once we find out those 4 things, we can then cater an offer to their needs and see if we can get a deal done. Remember, we're asking a bunch, but as long as you find the one, that's all it takes. You can ask 100 people. One of them is going to say yes, and that's the deal that you need. All right, so that's how you make money wholesaling and how it works. I would love some advice. So if there's something more that you want to see or know, make sure to drop it in the comments below. And if you like this video and you want to follow me on my journey, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram at BillyBoughtIt. See you on the next one.